Hi everybody, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about those scatter plots and the functions I was talking about in class. So what I've done is I pulled up some old data from a previous class that I taught, and this is a quiz score and an exam score. And I might want to know if maybe I could use the quiz as an advising tool to tell the student about what they could expect to score on the exam with that quiz score, or whether they should practice some more. So here's how I could do that to see if this is a good predictor. So I'm in an Excel spreadsheet right now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all of this data, and I'm going to go to Insert, Charts, and I'm going to go to these scatter plots down here. Okay, so I have plotted all of this data. Each one of these points is one row on my table. So for example, this point right here, you can see that it has the point 5611 and 4722. That corresponds to this person. This person scored 56% on their quiz, and then they ended up scoring 47% on their exam. And you can see, if you look at the data, it sort of leans up to the right. It's not a perfect straight line by any means. In fact, I've got this score here. I've got, a little bit of randomness in the scores, but you can see that overall it sort of reaches up and to the right, which means that people who had higher scores on the quiz tended to also have higher scores on the exam. So that tells me that maybe I could use this quiz and give my students advice about whether they should study more for the exam or whether they're pretty much ready for the exam. Now, I could go even a little bit farther, and I could get some numbers to help me describe here. And here's how I'm going to do that. I'm going to come up into here, and I'm going to hover my mouse over one of these points until the name of the point shows up. And then I'm going to right click. I'm right clicking here. And I'm going to come to Add Trend Line. And when I add the trend line, this box shows up on the right hand side. I'm going to click on Display Equation in Box and Display R squared value on chart. And I'm going to pull that up there where it's a little bit easier to see. And I'm also going to highlight it and make the text a little bit bigger, and make a boldface so that it's a little bit easier to read. Whoops, maybe move it over into a blank spot here. Okay, so here's what this is saying. This is saying the outputs, that's the Y values, that's the second column here, can be predicted by using this equation. Take 0.9497 times the X value. The X value is the left-hand column. And then add 0.0347 to it. Now, that's not going to perfectly predict how somebody would do on the exam, but it can give me kind of an idea of how they would do on the exam given the quiz score that they've got. Okay? So for example, if somebody scored an 80 on the quiz, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to put an 80 or a 0.8. And in the next column, I'm going to actually type that formula in. Every formula in Excel begins with an equal sign. So I'm going to start with equals, and then I'm going to type my 0.9497 times, I'm using the asterisk for times, the quiz score, that's the X value, plus 0.0347. You can see what I have written here is the formula from the scatter plot. And I'll hit enter. And this says that somebody who scored an 80% on the exam, on average, would score around a 79.446 on the exam. So an 80% on the quiz would, on average, come out to be a 79% on the exam. Does that make sense? Okay. There's another number on here that's also very important, and it's this R squared value here. Okay. This is called the coefficient of determination, but most people call it R squared. And what this is a measure of how scattered the points are here. If these points were on a perfect straight line with no randomness at all, my r squared would be 1. That means it would be 100% straight line. On the other hand, if the points were completely random all over the chart, this r squared would be a 0. R squared ranges between 0% and 100%. The number that we've got here is a 0.4739. That means that this is moderately good at predicting what the exam score would be given the quiz score. There are other models that can be used as well. This is called a regression model, by the way, when you use this trend line and get this equation. There's also a technique called multiple regression. I could take several quiz scores and use them. I couldn't make a plot of it because I would need 3 or 4 or 5 dimensions to do it. But I could get the equation and I could get the r squared value. And then the equation that I get could give me hopefully even a better predictor of how the student would do on the exam, given their combination of their quiz scores and their homework scores and things like that. Well, I hope this was helpful. I hope it makes sense. Let me know if you need more detail. If you're taking a statistics class in your program, you'll see more about how to do this. Okay, thanks. See you later. Bye-bye.